As a sex educator, the most frequently asked question I get is about children touching their private parts. My girl is using a water spray on her vulva. My boy is seen stroking his penis. Khabrao mat, കവലപ്പെടാതിങ്ങ ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല വിഷമിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. So I'm going to talk about what we can do, what we should not do, what is this dirty kid. അയ്യേ ചിച്ചി. Moms and dads deal with this behavior in different ways. കുട്ടികൾ എങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ചെയ്യോ? കുഴந்தைங்க இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பண்ணுவாங்களே என்ன? Right from the time the baby's in the uterus, they touch their genital. You are the boss of your body and nobody has the right to make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. When is it going to stop? When does this become a problem? A lot of parents of specially abled children, okay, I forgot the movie's name, but Mammootty's movie, in which he is the father of a special child. Even at age 35, 40, 45, I get women coming and telling me that they haven't experienced an orgasm all these years. As a sex educator, the most frequently asked question I get is about children touching their private parts. Yes, non-parents might be wondering, children touch their private parts? Really? But all parents know this. Right from the age of 1.5 or 2, or some of them even at 3, they notice this behavior. You know what parents say? My girl is using a water spray on her vulva. I don't know what to do. Or my boy is seen stroking his penis all day, every day. Do they start these things at age 3, 4, 5? Is it okay? Is it normal? What do we do? Should we distract? Should we encourage, discourage? We are completely confused. I'll tell you in all languages I know. Khabrao mat, kavalapadadinga, oru kuഴപ്പമില്ല വിഷമിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. This is age-appropriate behavior. I don't know if you know this, but this is a medical fact. Babies have been found to touch their private parts even when they are in the uterus. Yes, you heard that right. So this is a very innate, carnal, biological need in us to feel pleasure. And one of the most pleasurable parts in our body is the genitals, right? So children, when they explore the genitals also. We need to make peace with that. No other go. So I'm going to talk about what we can do, what we should not do when we see this behavior at home. All right? So I'll first tell you a story. So there was this mom who approached me many years ago. In fact, this is one of the first stories I start my sex education workshop with. The real talk. If you have attended the workshop, please let me know in the comments. How was it for you to learn all these concepts? Yes, back to my story. So this mom approached me many years ago. She told me she has a 6 or 7-year-old boy and he has been stroking his private part penis for a while, and this mom had been trying so many different things to make him stop. So in the beginning, she used to pinch him. Our parents used to do know this. What is this dirty kid? Ayye, chichi. All of that, yeah. So she tried all of that, and in the end, she even told him she's going to take him to the police station if he does not stop this behavior. Yes, she told me this, and she was so distressed, so worried. She asked me, "What do I do, Swati? I want to make him stop," and all of that. Yeah. So we had this discussion. I will tell you what all we discussed, or what all I generally talk about when it comes to children touching their private parts. But in this case, something that is very important to be noted is that each parent or each person has their own value systems when it comes to these sexual activities, We have our own innate belief systems. Like certain things will be okay for us, certain things won't be okay for us. And based on that, we take a decision, right? For example, premarital sex. Some people are okay with it. Some people say, no, it's not okay in our religion or in our specific spiritual belief system. We are not okay with it, etc. Similarly for periods, a lot of people have different kinds of value systems. Yeah. So like that, touching private parts is a very sensitive subject because For different people, their value systems might tell them different things. For some people, it might be okay. For some people, it might be no way. For some people, it might be fine, after teenage is fine, but what about little children doing it? That is completely not okay. And you know what? Moms and dads deal with this behavior in different ways. I'll talk about that too. Now, this behavior in children when they touch their private parts, boys stroking their penis or girls touching their vulva / clitoris, which is there on the vulva. This behavior is usually seen when children are out of diapers, right? So until they are on diapers, it's not usually noticeable. But once they're out of diapers at age 1.5 or 2 or 2.5, that's when parents actually notice this behavior and they panic, right? So it's a weird thing to see, right? A child touching their private parts. And many parents have asked me, because it's odd, it's awkward. I understand that, yeah. But like I told you, this is a behavior that started much before they were born, right? From the time the baby's in the uterus, they touch their genitals. It's a normal age-appropriate activity that happens as part of sexual development. But here, the most important thing that we need to understand is this is not masturbation. Yeah? Their sexual brain is not developed at that age. So they are not doing this activity to attain an orgasm or a sexual peak, because that level of development has not happened. This activity can be commonly called self-soothing or self-gratification, wherein it feels good, that's all. See, just like you itch your ears and it feels good, or if when somebody scratches your back, you're like, oh, yeah, it's nice, it feels good, That sort of feel good is only happening here. And you can't blame them because genitals are filled with a lot of nerve endings. It's meant to feel good. In fact, it is an age-appropriate activity, and if a child doesn't do a certain age-appropriate activity in a certain stage, that's when you need to evaluate. Why is that not happening? So if it's happening, it's all good. It's age-appropriate exploration that's happening, and you can't call it masturbation. You can probably call it self-soothing. So now I'll tell you what to do. Right, so when you see this behavior, usually or culturally, what we see parents do or even grandparents do is pinch, do this, snap their finger, or tell shame, puppy shame, or tell dirty boy, asingo, all of that, right? So that is something we should not. So now I'm going to tell you what to do, right? So don't do any of these things. Instead, tell the child very clearly that, okay, I see you touching your private parts, and we've had conversations on private parts. Private parts are meant to be kept closed or hidden. That's why it's called private. So you need to be touching your private parts only in privacy when you're by yourself, in the bathroom or in the bedroom, which are private spaces in the house. Now there is no privacy. I mean, I'm right in front of you. I can see you doing it, right? So you're not alone, and I'm there in front of you. So why don't you just stop doing it for some time and distract the child? Give them a toy or take them out to play or give them something else to do with your hands. Yeah? So this is what we usually do. And when we keep having these conversations, it's very important that we repeat that, it's a private part, privacy, do it only by yourself. And also add, nobody else should do it for you or make you feel uncomfortable and unsafe. That is very important. We need to add this. Yeah. You can also add in more statements like, see, Amma or Papa or Grandma or even in some cases Nanny might actually, touch you on your private parts when we are cleaning you or bathing you, right? That is okay, because that is happening for a health reason or for a safety reason or for a hygiene reason. So that is fine. ultimately, we are also not supposed to make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. It's something that you can add. So they will know that, okay, certain people do it because I'm a child and I need help. But even them, they should stop when I ask them to stop, or if I tell a no, they should, respect my no. All of these things you can add. These are things that you add on when you have conversations about boundaries and stuff like that. I can't obviously go into every topic in this video, but these are things that you can add when you have conversations, that these are safe adults and, you need to feel safe with people. Feeling unsafe is not a good thing. You need to come and tell me if you're feeling unsafe, if somebody makes you feel unsafe. Not just an adult, even another child shouldn't touch your private parts when you guys are playing doctor, or, teacher game or mummy or daddy game or whatever it is that children play. So these are all things that you keep adding whenever you're having conversations. But the most fundamental thing that you need to tell them is that these are private parts and they need to be touched only by the child or the toddler when they are by themselves. They're free to touch their private parts, right? When they're taking a bath or when they're cleaning themselves, they can always touch their own body. You shouldn't deny them that right to touch their own body, to touch. So that is how we instill or imbibe shame in them. We shouldn't be doing it, because the point that we need to understand here is their sexual brain hasn't developed at that stage. It's just pleasure for them. It's just a feel-good factor for them. Yeah. So when we start imbibing shame right from that age, what will happen? It'll continue forever. I know multiple instances where, especially women, when they come for sexual empowerment classes or relationship-oriented classes, etc., they tell me that they were shamed by their parents, and until adulthood, until they are in a relationship, or even after being in a relationship also, they have issues with their genitals. They have disgusting feelings surrounding their private parts or anything to do with sexual activity. And it would have all started from a very, very, very young age. So the point that we need to understand here is our children, they are sexual beings. Yeah, like it or not, they are sexual beings. And sexual development is inclusive of all these things, touching private parts or exploring what these parts feel like, because they need to explore to know what that organ can do, right? Only if they explore or touch, they will know what it will do for them, right? Only then they will know if it is okay, not okay, what touch is okay, what touch is not okay, what extent is okay, what intensity is okay. All of that is something that they are exploring. So it's okay to explore. We need to have conversations. We need to have regular, consistent conversations. And none of the conversations should include shame, disgust, awkward faces, nothing, okay? Just matter of fact. Very matter of fact conversations, maybe even with a smile. Now, since this is not a sex education workshop and I don't have that kind of time to share all kinds of information with you, and we are just focusing on this one aspect, let me just remind you again that to have these conversations, let's say, for example, you are the boss of your body and nobody has the right to make you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, etc. To have these conversations, you need to have certain prior conversations, right? So you need to already have spoken about private parts, names of the private parts, why they are private, privacy, safety. All these conversations go hand in hand. It all comes together. So there is no proper hierarchy, this should be said first, then this should be said, then this should be said. Yes, there is age appropriateness, that is there. But when it comes to these safety-related conversations, all these things go hand in hand. Yeah? So you need to have certain conversations prior so that these conversations around touching private parts, all this can work together. All right? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. If not, all of this information is put together beautifully in my workshop, The Real Talk. You can go try it out. Okay, so coming to the most important part of this topic, when is it going to stop? Parents ask me, so what do we do? I mean, okay, we had these conversations and everything, but they are still touching at times. And is it okay to continue like this? When is it going to stop? Parents start panicking sometimes. So for that, I'd like to tell you, it will stop in front of you. So in front of you, them touching their private parts, that is going to stop for sure. Because their logical brain is developing. So by around 6 years, their prefrontal cortex, the logical brain, the brain that understands what is okay, not okay, what is rational, what is appropriate, that part is developing. They are observing what is happening around them. So they're going to see what is socially appropriate and what is inappropriate. Oh, people are not going around naked. Oh, my parents are not openly speaking about private parts. It's only happening inside the house. Oh, maybe that's why they're asking me not to talk about it in public. So they are observing a lot of socially appropriate, socially acceptable behaviors and conversations. So during that time, they'll understand certain things are not okay to be done in public. And that is the time when they will slowly stop doing it in public. Yeah. In private, yes, it might continue very much. Yeah. In the bathroom when they're by themselves, or the bedroom when they're by themselves, they might touch or explore their private part, which is their body part. We need to understand it's private part for other people. But for the person, it's their own body part. We need to understand that. Yeah. Don't make it private even for the person. Okay. That being said, yes, it's going to slow down. It's going to stop. After a while, they will understand. And the moment they are entering pre-teen years, pre-adolescence, they will clearly understand what is appropriate and not appropriate. They are meant to understand. That is also an age-appropriate sexual development, that they will understand certain things are private. And when they enter adolescence, they will also understand that, it is an activity that might give me a very, very extreme pleasurable sensation. That's also something they're going to figure out anyway, 100%. So they are anyway going to figure out. The only one thing we can do as parents is to eliminate the shame out of it. That's the only thing we will be able to do. So again, don't panic. The behavior is going to slow down or stop publicly. Just like we all stopped digging our noses in public, this is also a behavior that will eventually slow down or come down or stop. Okay? Another aspect we need to talk about is when does this become a problem? That is also something that we have to evaluate. Yes, it's normal, it's age appropriate, okay, agreed. But still there are some cases where we need to dig deep, evaluate further. Yeah. So see, usually children touch their private parts. I told you it's for pleasure sensations, it feels good. So usually when they do it is when they are stressed, when they are sleepy, when they are tired, when they are distracted, or sometimes even when they are overstimulated and they want to just calm down their nervous system, they actually can, touch their private part. But when does this become a problem is when it is very obsessive behavior and very compulsively they are always doing it. And see, even after the parents explaining about privacy, private part, etc., they will still see the child doing it. But again, they'll be able to distract, or they'll still be able to have a conversation and the child will stop for some time and maybe they'll see the behavior only next day. That is all okay. But let's say it's happening in a very obsessive or compulsive way, very repeatedly, and the parent itself feels really, really uncomfortable after a point of time, then I would say we can evaluate. We might have to evaluate what is the amount of stress that's going on in the child's life at home. We can evaluate what the child is consuming on the internet, because a lot of children get their gadgets by age 2.5 itself. They start seeing cartoons and something on the phone for sure. So we don't know what they're watching, etc. So it's good to evaluate. If the parent's gut says something is off, yes, I'm having conversations and everything, and the behavior is also okay, normal, that normal range, but no, I think I have to evaluate. Yeah, and the parent obviously knows circumstances and situations and stress levels and all at home. No, so if there's something deeper, then I would like you to have conversations with a professional, a psychologist or a sexuality educator who understands age-appropriate sexual development. Okay, so please have conversations if that's the case. Before we conclude, another aspect we have to talk about is special children. A lot of parents of specially abled children or sometimes physically disabled children and all, they also ask, is it okay, not okay, etc. Now, physically disabled children, if they do not have any other issues, if they are neurotypical kids, then all these discussions that we just had, it'll all be apt for them. Yeah. Now, if the child is neurodivergent or if they are specially abled, then something that we need to keep in mind is the body is still developing sexually. Okay, the age or the stage at which the parent might be seeing certain behaviors might change here and there, but overall, their sexual body parts are also developing. Yeah, we need to keep that in mind. We need to be super duper empathetic. And I don't have to specifically mention this because I know a lot of parents of specially, able children, and they are the most empathetic people I've come across. Yeah. So I don't have to specifically mention that, I know, but still I'm just putting it out there. Just be as empathetic as you would be to any child that is exploring their private part. It's normal, it's fine. But statistically, special children are more prone to abuse. So it's good if you keep an eye on them at all times. I know it's difficult, very challenging. You should be keeping an eye on them at all times. And you can teach them, train them about private parts and body safety using flashcards or images. Please talk to your special educator. They will have inputs, suggestions on how to inculcate body knowledge to your special child. So have that conversation. It's all normal. I remember one of my friends, she used to work at a special school. She told me this beautiful incident that, when the school hired a new music teacher, a music sir, a male, and he was a very conventionally good-looking guy. And when he was about to come to school, children were informed that new music sir is coming and everything. And he was coming to the school with his guitar and everything. And my friend had told me that the girls, most of them on the autistic spectrum, and of course other issues also, they were combing their hair and doing a bit of grooming and applying their lip gloss or lip balm or something. And they were all, very conscious that this man is coming. So they're all probably sexually developing in the same way sometimes, makes you think. So be really empathetic to special children. And I think movies like, I forgot the movie's name, but Mammootty's movie, in which he's the father of a special child. Those kind of movies are very eye-opening in terms of understanding the importance of sexual development in special children. Yeah, they also need their sexual releases. They also want to experience pleasure. They also know that their body has a capacity to give them certain sensations. So very, very important that we read more about all these things. Now, we are concluding this topic, but I have a message to all the parents out there. Like I told you in the beginning, moms and dads deal with it in a very different way. Especially when it comes to dads, they're kind of okay. Because as young boys, culturally we are okay with masturbation practices in boys or men. We kind of understand, we know that they're anyway doing it. They're anyway figuring it out. Yeah, we need to give them their space, their, privacy, whatever. Maybe because of that openness, culturally, the behavior in boys are seen more okay, normal compared to behavior in girls. Also, the way dads see it because of their own exploration when they were young boys, they're okay with it. They're like, yeah, fine. It's all understandable. It happens, right? But when it comes to moms, especially because in our culture, pleasure, orgasms, even self-pleasuring in women, masturbation in women, etc. are not really talked about or explored. Or only now it's all coming up thanks to social media and sex educators and influencers, etc., etc. Since that area is not really well explored, and today's moms that have issues with these kind of things were young girls who had doubts and confusions and personal shame with their own bodies at one point of time. They're the moms today, right? So they will have confusions and contradictions in their head. Why is my little girl doing it? Or my boy is doing it. Is that okay? I mean, if the dad is okay, they are kind of okay. But when it comes to a girl doing the same thing, it confuses everybody. Please understand that sexual development happens in everybody. Boys, girls, in everybody. So it's normal. Yeah. Only thing is the way we see it should probably just widen a bit. We need to understand that girls also explore. It's fine. It's okay. But we need to do whatever I just listed out here in the video. And personally, I would ask all the young moms watching, to explore about your own relationship with your body. That's very important. Not that the fathers, the men are all pucka perfect. No, there are so many issues. We will talk about so many things on the channel. Upcoming videos will talk about a lot of things for men and women. But specifically to the women, I'd like to tell you that because I've had the lived experience of being a woman, there are a lot of blockages, shame, barriers, obstacles in our own sexual development that we have come across during childhood, pre-adolescence, adolescence, young adulthood, even now. Even at age 35, 40, 45, I get women coming and telling me that they haven't experienced an orgasm all these years. Married for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I don't know what an orgasm is. I don't know what pleasure is. So the relationship that the parent has with their own body, their own sexuality, or the intimacy or lack of intimacy that they have with their partner, all of that can come in and hinder the ability to make another person sexually empowered because they themselves are not sexually empowered. So something that I highly recommend all parents to do is read more about age-appropriate sexual development. Read more about adult sexuality also. To a large extent, when you understand sexuality as a subject, it becomes easy to guide another person. Imagine if you are nutritionally very deficient and you have all kinds of allergies and then you don't follow a proper diet or a lifestyle. How do you guide another person on their health and lifestyle? Not fair, no? Same thing with sexuality. So take these inputs, but do your homework. Keep studying, keep learning, keep reading, attend my workshops or any workshops out there. You get a lot of information from workshops because personally, I can talk only about me. I have put together so much of information that I have read from multiple books, multiple sources. My own experiences, everything comes together. So go and explore and learn and unlearn first from our end. Then we'll automatically do what is meant to be done with our children. Thank you and all the best.